What's up, everybody? Brandon here for Red State, and it would appear that Ulta Beauty, the makeup company, is being boycotted by women, being rejected by women. Why? Because it would appear that Ulta Beauty rejected women. Women apparently do not exist anymore, according to the social justice left. Ulta has, like many companies, adopted this idea that men and women are interchangeable. They're not. That apparently women have no discerning qualities to men. Men can get pregnant. Men can have vaginas. Men can get periods. Men are apparently just the same as women, and women are just the same as men. And it's why they decided that they were going to host a podcast featuring a TikToker who believes that he's a woman. He is a transgender TikToker. And it was hosted by a man who I believe also thinks that he is a woman. And they talk about trans issues. Apparently, Ulta is trying to get in on that transgender market. The issue is that the transgender market is actually a lot smaller than they actually think that it is, despite the fact that they are a very loud group, these activists on Twitter and on social media. It's not actually that big of a group, and women did not appreciate the fact that they were effectively ignored by a beauty company that they had been spending money on all this time. Let's dive into this. Let's check this out. This right now is up at Business Insider. Ulta Beauty is defending transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney after critics said they'd boycott the retailer for featuring her on a podcast. It's a him. Ulta Beauty's latest podcast features transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney discussing femininity. Now, Dylan Mulvaney has no right to discuss femininity, at least from a perspective of being a person who is a representative of femininity, which are women. Discussing femininity as a man is perfectly fine. I think it's absolutely necessary for talks to happen, for ideas to be transmitted back and forth. However, to call yourself a living embodiment of it when you are not is wrong. Should not happen. However, Ulta just allowed that to happen. Some anti-trans people took issue with the episode and are calling for an Ulta Beauty boycott. You don't have to be anti-trans to disagree with this move. Transgenderism is a sickness at the end of the day. To sit here and say that it is a fact of reality that men and women are interchangeable is wrong, and that's what many people are out against. They don't really have any issues, per se, with transgender people in general as individuals. However, the movement is trying to erase women, and that's just something that many people, on both the left and the right, just aren't going to stand for. Women are women, men are men, and women want to be kept in as women. The idea of femininity in women need to be kept as women, according to these people, and I agree with them. In a tweet, Ulta Beauty asked for comments aimed at Mulvaney to be respectful. Ulta Beauty has responded to anti-trans people who are criticizing and boycotting the retailer for featuring a transgender influencer in a recent video. This fall, the beauty chain launched a podcast called The Beauty Of, which featured influential people and their perspectives on the many definitions of beauty, according to a press release. Its most recent episode, released on Thursday, features transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney. Dylan Mulvaney is a TikToker who comes up with a lot of very weird TikToks about becoming a woman, being a woman, when he's really a man. And gender fluid host David Lopez, well, that answers that, who both discuss their journeys with gender, beauty, and life. Mulvaney is especially popular on TikTok, where he posts his 100 Days of Girlhood series. The videos show his daily experiences of being a transgender man, or I guess it would be transgender woman in this case, from buying her first designer bag to taking hormones. As of Monday, he has 8 million followers on the platform. This is the kind of content that he posts.
And I have already cried 3 times. Day 215 of being a girl, and when I watched that day 1 video back, I literally cringe watching it. You know when you read old diary entries or you see old photos of yourself from the past and you're like, what the hell was I thinking? That is how I feel about my early Days of Girlhood videos. And as much as I want to delete that video, I'm not going to because I know it's part of the journey. but the contents of that are just not really it. You know, I see what I was trying to do there. I was trying to be relatable.
Okay. Moving on. Ulta's podcast episode with Mulvaney has been viewed over 16,000 times on YouTube as of Monday. A clip from the interview posted to Ulta Beauty's Instagram on Friday has more than 348,000 views. Though many viewers of the video supported the influencer and Ulta, some anti-trans people, again, anti-trans, they're using that language on purpose to try to establish that this is somehow a hateful group when it's not. And that's something that you'll often see when it comes to the leftist media. You'll see them play with language in order to define a narrative, which does not exist. There's the narrative that tries to establish some sort of reality, that reality does not exist. Many people aren't anti-trans per se, but they do not want to see their very being erased and who they are, their true identity, basically mocked. And that's really what this boils down to. It's identity politics trying to take identity away from the people who actually do have that identity. And a lot of people aren't going to stand for it, and they shouldn't. Some anti-trans people criticize the cosmetics retailer for featuring Mulvaney and Lopez in a conversation centered on femininity and beauty on Twitter, Instagram, and other social media platforms. The critics posted hurtful comments aimed at Mulvaney, Lopez, and transgender people and requested that others join them in boycotting Ulta Beauty. The company responded to the criticism via Twitter on Sunday afternoon, reiterating that the purpose of the Beauty of podcast is to start conversations that widen the lens surrounding traditional beauty standards. Well, there's a reason that we have traditional beauty standards. It's because traditional beauty standards actually are realistic. You are not going to suddenly change what beautiful is. Now, I realize that beauty does evolve and adapt over time. However, one thing has always been clear. Beauty as defined, feminine beauty has always been defined by women, whereas masculine beauty, if you will, has always been defined by men. There are qualities that we see naturally in these sorts of things. And suddenly trying to say, well, that a man is femininely beautiful, they can have feminine qualities, sure. They can be a little androgynous here and there, but at the end of the day, they're not women, and they are not traditionally beautiful by female standards, by feminine standards. That's just the way it is. It's nature. There's not really much you can do to change that. However, this is part of the transgender movement's ideas that they're going to somehow come in and rewire humanity despite thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years of natural urges, natural views, just nature in general. They think that just a few years of social justice politics is going to reverse nature itself. It's not going to happen. We believe beauty is for everyone, Ulta Beauty said on Twitter, and while we recognize some conversations we host will challenge perspectives and opinions, we believe constructive dialogue is one important way to move beauty forward. The problem with that is that there is no constructive dialogue being had. There's a bunch of people saying, hey, we're being erased, and we don't like this. Our identity is being stripped away because of people who are pretending they are something else. And anytime someone says that, the other group just says, oh, well, this is, you're just all bigots. You're transphobes. You're anti-trans. And they get shut down immediately. And that's not a conversation, yet they consistently talk about how we need to have conversations. They don't have a conversation. What they want is a monologue, is really what that boils down to. The intersectionality of gender identity is nuanced, something David and Dylan acknowledged themselves within the episode. The retailer's tweet continued, regardless of how someone identifies, they deserve our respect. No, they do not deserve our respect. Respect is earned. Just coming out here and saying that you are one thing when you're actually another does not entitle you to respect. And that needs to be understood. Here is pretty much something, here's a clip. To give you an idea of, this is the main highlight that's been going around. To give you an idea of what they were talking about, here's Mulvaney talking about what he can do now that he thinks that he's a woman.
Now I know I can find love. I know I can still be a performer. I know that I can have a family. I want to be a mom one day. And I absolutely can. And that's why the narrative still has a long way to go, because when I was grieving Boy Dylan, I didn't know those things were even accessible to me.
Okay, they're not. You can't be a mom, you're a man. You can definitely be a performer. You can definitely go on stage and say that you're a woman and perform like a woman. But one thing that you cannot do is be a mom. You will never be a mother if you were born a man. That's just how it is. You don't have the parts. You don't have the parts necessary to gestate a child in your stomach. Period. This is reality. And yet, you continuously have people like Mulvaney coming out and trying to pretend like they do. But here's the thing. Mulvaney cannot really call himself a woman. Not only does he not have the parts, he doesn't have the DNA, he doesn't have the chromosomes. Okay? But he did not earn the right to call himself a woman. He did not grow up as a woman and go through the bodily changes necessary as a girl to come out as a woman. He did not earn that. He does not get a period. Okay? He's not going through any changes that allow his body to give birth and feed, nurture children. Women do have to go through all of that. It's absolutely ridiculous that women have to sit back and watch someone like Mulvaney claim to be one of them when he did not earn that position at all. No wonder women are mad. If you look around our society today, you see a lot of this happening. Women are being pushed out of their own competitions. Okay, they cannot engage in a sport now without some man being there claiming to be one of them and taking first place. Because naturally, biologically, men are just stronger and more athletic than women in general. That's just how it is. That's the honest to God's truth. All right, you're seeing many women be canceled or chosen for jobs over or because they're not transgender. You know, they want to fill some sort of corporate space with, you know, transgender people for their DEI projects, and women will be sidelined because they have a transgender person there who thinks they're a woman. J.K. Rowling talks a lot about this on her Twitter, actually. And this is one of the reasons that people, they hate J.K. Rowling. It's because J.K. Rowling tells the truth about what's happening to women, not just in the workplace, but also in the medical field. It's ridiculous. Women are losing their jobs because they're saying, hang on, that person's not a woman. You can't go into a locker room now without a man being allowed in there claiming that they're a woman. And if you don't go along with it, if you don't undress in front of this man, well, then guess what? You're the one who's in trouble. And now you have Ulta. You have Ulta Beauty Company coming down and saying, guess what? Men are women too. And we're going to talk about femininity with this man as if he is a woman and erase and do our part in the erasure of women. No wonder women are wanting to cancel Ulta. No wonder they're wanting to boycott Ulta. If I was a woman, I would want to as well, but I'm not. I'm a man. I was born a man and I'll always be a man because that's how nature works. Hey, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.